Hello, I'm Shana. My pronouns are she, her. I'm so thankful for this opportunity to talk to you here today. I really appreciate the time and attention, not just from the people that came out in the room, but the people that are going to watch this later. I don't have a lot of words on my slides. I have pictures. I have been a member of the Select Board for a little over 7 years, and before that, I was on the Finance Committee for 5 years. I served as chair on both of those groups, but I also served on the budget subcommittees and even a citizens group a few years ago, not the most recent one, but the one a few years ago, looking at the overall financial structure. I can assure you I am fully qualified and capable of talking about our budgets in great detail. Maybe Karen Rouse can maybe beat me, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm happy to talk about any of the projections for the last 10 years, 12 years, where we got where we are. But they gave me the floor, and that's not what I want to talk about tonight. If you want to talk about it, please write down your questions. I'm happy to answer them. But what I really want to talk about today is Westport. I want to talk about, I think so much of the conversation of the override is about the dollars and the spreadsheet and not enough about the value of the services that we get. Town government, at its very essence, is a group of neighbors who are getting together, pool their money by way of the tax levy to provide services in their community that they think are valuable. And you can tell a lot about what the community values by looking at how they spend their money. Now, Lawrence touched on this a little bit, but I really want to underscore, because a lot of what you hear is government's out of control, spending's out of control, they're mismanaging our money. I want to be super clear. The people that decide on the budget, the people that decide where the money goes, does the money go to the school department, the highway department, does it go to the police, does it go to cemetery? That's town meeting voters. Town meeting voters are the people making the decisions about where the money goes. The Select Board, the School Committee, the Finance Committee spend a lot of time preparing budgets to make a recommendation. The town administrator and the school superintendent do a lot of work to administer the budgets. But the people who are deciding where the money goes and how much of the money is going to be in the pot are town meeting voters. So I really want you to remember, it isn't the people in this building. These people are just doing the work that town meeting has asked them to do. So when I think about looking at what does our community value and what are the services that we're paying for that might be at risk if we don't make a change in the levy limit, all of this has to be on the table. Everything is at risk. And I want to talk about the things that I think are important that are probably the most at risk. So one of my favorite things about this town is the recreation department. The recreation department has recently been reemerged in the community. We have in the past stopped funding it. But this department provides family-friendly programming. I want to live in a community that has summer concert series and summer movie nights. I want to live in a community that provides affordable, safe childcare during school vacation weeks. I want to live in a place that has an Easter egg hunt and a tree lighting, and that's what you get when you're paying your recreation dollars. It's amazing to live in a town that does that. We have also at the annex, I was trying to keep by the pictures here that Norm came up here. Also at the annex, one of the ones I'm going to call out is the Veteran Service Officer. In the past, we've looked at cutting the VSO to part-time because we are required to have a Veteran Service Officer, but many communities fund this as a part-time position. Now, every time we've looked at, hey, maybe we should make a cut here, the community has come out and said, no, we think that the Veteran Service Officer is providing a valuable service in our community. This is the person that is making sure that veterans and their families know about, have access to, and use services that they're entitled to. She does a phenomenal job, but it isn't just for the veterans, because I love that we live in a community that goes out to Beech Grove Cemetery on Memorial Day and on Veterans Day, and we remember the people that made this community possible. That's being coordinated by our Veteran Service Officer, and I love that about our town. I would like to keep it. Let's talk about the library. When I joined the Finance Committee, we were not funding the library at the minimum state certification level. So we were funding below the level required by the state. When you do that, you risk losing access to the library network. Now, I don't go to the actual library very often, but when I do, it's usually to pick up a book that I got through the interlibrary loan system because of some specialty topic. And do you know, I use my Libby app every single day. I am listening to an audiobook or reading an ebook that I got for free from my public library because we're funding at the level that keeps that programming available. I want to keep that. That's valuable to me. I know that you guys are using it too. We have the Senior Center. I love our Council on Aging. This is another one. I barely ever go there, but I love that we have the Council on Aging. This mighty group, led by Bev Bish, who's sitting right here, this group provides recreational opportunities. They're providing training programs for new technology. They help seniors with their taxes. They are providing transportation to medical appointments for people who wouldn't be able to get to their doctor or dialysis if it weren't for that program. And on top of all of that, they offer supportive daycare programs so that seniors who really need a little bit of extra care and help can still get out into a social situation with other people and their caregivers can have a break. Let's keep funding that. Let's do more of that. I know you think it's valuable because you're funding it today. Let's build on that and grow. There's too many departments to talk about all of them, but I could talk about challenge in pretty much every department. But I'm going to skip over the transfer station and the cemetery for just brevity, but I'm happy to come back to them if you have a question, so write it down. I'm also going to skip over highway and the harbor master and shellfish department, but they're there. You forget about them a lot until the grass isn't mowed, and then you wonder why the grass isn't mowed, and I'll tell you why the grass isn't mowed. It's a staffing issue. There's a staffing problem. That's why the grass is high. That's the answer. But let's talk about the bigger budgets, because these are the ones that they're always the biggest line items, and they're the ones that are most scrutinized, and I get it. It's a lot of money. So let's talk about the fire department. A number of years ago, long before I got involved in town government, Westport voters decided that they really value having paramedics respond in emergency rescue. Most towns, or many towns, provide their ambulance services through outsourced private entities that are providing EMTs. But Westport has local residents, members of our community who are trained paramedics are showing up on that ambulance. I know that has saved lives here in Westport. I'd like to say that we value our fire department. I would like to say we built the fire station, don't we value the fire department? But the truth of the matter is we are understaffed significantly in that department. We are not meeting the standards for the staff that we should have for a community of our demographic and our population levels. So as much as I appreciate our firefighters, I'm glad we have paramedics, they need more. We need 5 or 6 more to come up to the minimum recommendation standards. Let's talk about the police department. Now, I, for one, hope that I don't ever have to interact with the police. I like to avoid interacting with the police, but I sure do want them there when I need them. When I call 911, I would like a response, and I would like somebody who's trained, who has the equipment available and the training to respond in a timely manner. One of the most frequent complaints I get on the select board is about people speeding in the neighborhood. Why aren't you ticketing speeders? Why aren't you doing something about speeders? You want to know why? Staffing. We are lucky if we have 3 cruisers on the street at any given time. We have 64 square miles of real estate in our town, and usually only 2 cruisers on duty at any given time. We don't have a lot of crime, but you know what? We do have crime. You just don't hear about it. We don't have extra people just be sitting around catching speeders. The other thing I want to call about the police department, I know that people care about an elementary school resource officer. When we had to make a staffing decision to pull that position because of absence or because we had a lack of personnel in other areas, there was an outcry. People were really upset that we pulled the school resource officer out. But the fact of the matter is, the chief has to deploy the resources he has in the most effective way. If you want to ensure a school resource officer is at the schools, you need to fund the department at a level that allows that kind of staffing change, that kind of staffing happen. This is another one. I'd like to say we value the police department, but they need more people. They need more people. That's just the way it is. So let's talk about the school department. No doubt about it, school budget, half of your taxes are going to the school department. It's true. I hear two kind of themes when people are talking about the schools and taxes and your money go up. So the first theme that I kind of hear is, we just built a new building. You had a $97 million building. Now you're asking for a handout. You want more? And I say, yes, you know what? I know that Westport values education because we did make a financially responsible decision about the buildings where we educate our students. We had to demolish one building. We had one that's no longer fit for purpose. We put together a project that was funded in large part by the state of Massachusetts and not Westport residents. I think we got a pretty good deal and made the right decision on facilities, and I know you were there to back us up on that. But now we need to fund the things that happen inside the building because it's not just, we need proper facilities, but you need to fund the programming inside the facilities. If you look at the school system today, they are facing all kinds of challenges with standardized testing, changes in curriculum. You have mandates coming down from all left and right from the state. We have English language learners that require a great deal of support. We have people with disabilities that need accommodation. And all of this, while they're facing an unprecedented mental health crisis among adolescents and youth, this is affecting every aspect of the school day, every part of the educational programming. They need help. They need resources to train the teachers and the staff and to provide these kinds of things available. The other kind of theme that I hear is, I don't have kids in the school. Why should I spend all my money on the school department? I don't even have kids in the school. You know what? I don't either. My kids are older. They're graduating. They're in college now. They're not in the school district. But you know, here in the United States, we made a value decision centuries ago. We understood that a functioning democracy requires an educated citizenry. You can't have a good democratic process our entire government hinges on educated populace who's making these decisions. But most importantly, when you think about the value of a public school education, it is not the beneficiary of isn't the kid who's sitting in the desk, and it isn't the family of the kid sitting in the desk. The beneficiary of our public education system is the public, our entire community. If you think about those children sitting in the classroom today and studying wherever they're studying, in 10 years or less, they're going to be the labor force. They're going to be our economic engine for the next 50 years. These kids are going to drive the economy. They need to have enough educational background, skills, and training to do the jobs that we're going to need them to do in the next 20, 30 years. And some of them, we don't even know what those jobs are. We need to make them prepare. We need to prepare for them. So the no voters have a really easy argument. I don't want my taxes to go up. There you go. If I vote yes, my taxes are going to go up. Yes, they are. Your taxes are going to go up. But I don't think they're going to go up a lot compared to all the benefit that you're getting that I just talked about. But this is the point where Westport needs to make a decision about who we are. We paid money for all these things I mentioned and so much more because we thought there was value to Westport in providing those services. If you vote no, I really challenge you to become part of the budgeting process and tell us what you do not value anymore. What are we doing that we need to stop doing? Because we cannot keep doing what we're doing. If we vote no, we know what this year is going to look like. We know a yes vote gets you an extra police officer, gets you an extra paramedic, gets another building inspector, gets some more money for the Council on Aging, and a chunk of money for the schools is probably not enough for them, but at least it's something for the school department. We know what a yes vote will get you. A no vote, we already know what that looks like for this year. We already voted on it. Town meeting decided. But if you look at the next year, and 2 years later, you're really talking about having to make significant cuts somewhere. So I'm asking, what do you want to cut? So I I don't want to cut any of these things. I want to keep going. So this is the ballot question. We get a lot of complaints about the wording of the ballot question. It's kind of confusing to read. I agree, but you know what? It's the state law. This is a state mandate about what the budget has to look like. The plan that we have, we're asking for an ability to raise the levy limit by $3 million. So this would, you saw Lawrence's pie chart. The idea here is you have the current levy, you have an amount for new growth, and then you have the 2.5%. What we're asking for is the ability to raise the levy limit by $3 million. But the first year, we've only appropriated $1 million from the levy. And we're doing that because we want to be thoughtful about the way we phase in this increase, because we didn't, there was a lot of debate about this actually, but ultimately we decided we want to phase in the increases. So in the first year, we've already appropriated at town meeting of $1 million in addition to the levy. So barring another special town meeting, that's what's going to be. The plan for the select board, and I'm pretty sure the plan for the finance committee was, to look at, maybe not finance committee, I don't want to speak for them. The plan is to increment it by another $1 million in the next year. But I want to be really clear. The people who are going to decide whether to increment it another $1 million and the people that are going to decide the distribution and which departments get that another $1 million are town meeting voters. It isn't a mystery. It's going to be a public process at town meeting. So that's the plan. I hope that you'll join me in voting yes on July 25th. Thank you.